It's a difficult morning here again because our top story is once again about our former colleague, Matt Lauer.
And in fact, we just moments ago received a statement from Matt, and let me read it to you.
Once one of the most trusted faces in American television, Matt Lauer's fall from grace was as shocking as it was swift. For years, the former Today Show anchor stayed silent, hiding from the spotlight as rumors swirled. But now, at 67, Matt Lauer has finally confirmed what so many suspected. And the truth isn't pretty. What really happened behind the cameras, and why is he speaking out now? Matt Lauer was once the king of morning television. With his polished demeanor, quick wit, and calm authority, he became the face of NBC's Today Show for over 2 decades. Millions of viewers trusted him to deliver the news, share stories, and even bring warmth to their mornings. But in 2017, that carefully built image came crashing down. Allegations of misconduct surfaced. NBC cut ties with him overnight, and his reputation was left in ruins. Since then, Matt Lauer has lived largely out of the public eye, refusing interviews, declining public appearances, and retreating into a life of privacy. Now, years later, he has finally broken his silence. At 67, Lauer has confirmed the rumors that haunted him, leaving fans shocked, critics vindicated, and the industry asking, what's next for one of TV's most controversial figures? Before the scandal, Matt Lauer's career looked unstoppable. Born in New York City in 1957, he began his career in journalism as a producer before working his way up to on-air roles. His natural charisma and steady delivery made him a perfect fit for television news. By the 1990s, he joined NBC's Today Show, quickly becoming a household name. Alongside co-anchors like Katie Couric, Meredith Vieira, and Savannah Guthrie, Lauer turned the Today Show into the #1 morning program in America. He interviewed presidents, celebrities, and world leaders. He covered the Olympics, breaking news, and human interest stories. For viewers, Matt Lauer wasn't just a journalist. He was a trusted companion in their daily lives. His reported $25 million salary reflected not only his talent, but his status as one of the most powerful figures in television. But behind the polished smile, whispers began to circulate. Rumors about his private life, his relationships, and his behavior off-camera simmered quietly. Few dared to speak publicly until everything changed in 2017. What exactly happened that turned one of TV's most respected anchors into one of its most disgraced? In November 2017, NBC News executives announced that Matt Lauer had been fired from the Today Show after receiving a detailed complaint of inappropriate sexual behavior. The news sent shockwaves through the industry. Within hours, headlines around the world detailed the allegations, and viewers were left stunned. As more women came forward, reports painted a troubling picture of Lauer's behavior behind the scenes. Allegations included inappropriate relationships with subordinates, abusive power dynamics, and incidents that spanned years. NBC's swift decision to terminate his contract reflected the seriousness of the accusations. For a man who had been the face of the network for decades, the fall was dramatic and absolute. Overnight, Matt Lauer went from one of the most trusted names in media to a pariah. In the days that followed, his co-anchors, including Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb, addressed the scandal on live television, their shock and sadness visible. For fans, the betrayal felt deeply personal. And yet for years afterward, Lauer himself remained silent. He vanished from public life, leaving behind unanswered questions. Did he admit guilt? Did he deny the accusations? And why, after years of silence, has he finally chosen to speak now? After his firing, Matt Lauer disappeared almost entirely from public life. The man who once appeared on millions of TV screens each morning was suddenly nowhere to be found. For someone so closely tied to the rhythm of American mornings, his absence was striking. Lauer retreated to his Hamptons estate, a sprawling property that quickly became both his sanctuary and his prison. Paparazzi occasionally caught glimpses of him, walking alone on the beach, shopping quietly in town, or attending private events. But the confident, polished anchor from the Today Show was gone, replaced by a man visibly aged by scandal and isolation. Friends described him as reclusive, spending most of his time away from the public eye, raising his children and attempting to live a quieter life. But exile came with consequences. Professional offers dried up. Longtime allies distanced themselves. Even within NBC, his name became taboo. For many, the silence only added to the mystery. Was Lauer quietly preparing a comeback? Or was this permanent exile his new reality? Even as Matt Lauer tried to disappear, the rumors followed him. Books, articles, and documentaries continued to examine his case. Some painted him as a manipulative figure who used his power to exploit others. Others suggested his firing was rushed, a move by NBC to protect its image rather than fully investigate the truth. For years, these competing narratives swirled. Supporters argued that Lauer had been tried in the court of public opinion, condemned without due process. Critics countered that his downfall was long overdue, the result of years of unchecked behavior in an industry known for protecting its stars. Meanwhile, whispers of attempted comebacks circulated. Some claimed he was pitching projects behind the scenes. Others speculated he might write a tell-all memoir. Yet, nothing materialized. The once powerful anchor remained silent, fueling speculation but offering no answers. This silence kept the rumors alive. Each passing year added to the intrigue. What exactly had Lauer done? How much of the story had NBC kept hidden? And most importantly, when, if ever, would he finally break his silence? For nearly 5 years, Matt Lauer's silence was deafening. While other disgraced public figures issued apologies, gave interviews, or attempted public comebacks, Lauer chose the opposite path: retreat. This left fans, critics, and even former colleagues wondering, would he ever speak again? Then, in his late 60s, Lauer finally broke his silence. In a rare conversation, he admitted that some of the rumors that had followed him for years were true. He acknowledged inappropriate relationships with colleagues during his time at NBC, but he insisted that these encounters were consensual. It was a stunning admission, not because people didn't suspect it, but because for years he refused to say anything at all. His words confirmed what many had whispered, that his fall from grace was not a misunderstanding or a smear campaign, but the result of choices he himself had made. Yet the way he framed his confession stirred even more debate. By claiming that the relationships were consensual, Lauer reignited discussions about power dynamics in the workplace. Could a relationship between a powerful anchor and a subordinate ever truly be free of pressure or imbalance? Critics argued no. Supporters pointed out that consent is complicated and that his side of the story had long been ignored. With his confession, Lauer reopened wounds that many thought had healed. But he also raised a bigger question. Was this honesty a step toward redemption, or simply too little, too late? Even as Matt Lauer admitted to parts of the allegations, he strongly denied others. In particular, he rejected claims of coercion or assault, insisting that he had never forced himself on anyone. He argued that while mistakes were made, the most damaging accusations were false. This dual approach, admitting some things while denying others, left the public divided. To some, it felt like selective honesty, an attempt to soften his image without fully taking responsibility. To others, it was the first time he had truly defended himself, offering details that NBC and the media had glossed over. But one thing was clear: the truth was complicated. the line between confession and denial blurred. His words reignited debates, not just about Matt Lauer, but about the entire media industry. How many other powerful figures had operated in similar ways? How much had networks known and ignored? In the end, Lauer's statements did not repair his reputation. If anything, they cemented his status as one of television's most disgraced figures. And yet, they also marked a turning point. For the first time since 2017, Matt Lauer had spoken directly to the rumors that haunted him. But what did this mean for his future? Could there be a path back for him, or was his career and his legacy permanently destroyed? When Matt Lauer finally admitted to some of the rumors, the fallout was immediate. Headlines once again blasted his name across newspapers, magazines, and social media feeds. For years, his scandal had slowly faded into the background of public memory, replaced by newer controversies. But his confession dragged it all back into the spotlight. Former colleagues at NBC reacted with mixed emotions. Some felt vindicated, pointing out that his words confirmed what many had long suspected behind the scenes. Others were disheartened, not because they defended him, but because it reopened painful memories for the network and for the women who had come forward. The confession also divided the public. Supporters argued that his honesty, however partial, showed growth and humility. Critics countered that the timing felt self-serving, as though Lauer was testing the waters for a possible return to the public eye. Brands, networks, and publishers kept their distance. No one wanted to be the first to give him a second chance. And so, despite the noise his confession created, Matt Lauer remained effectively shut out from the industry that once defined him. But perhaps the most telling reaction came from viewers. The millions of Americans who once welcomed him into their homes every morning. For them, the betrayal still stung. Forgiveness might come for some, but trust? That was gone forever. Could a man once so trusted ever rebuild a relationship with an audience that felt so deeply deceived? Today, Matt Lauer lives a life worlds away from the glitz and power of NBC's Rockefeller Plaza. At 67, his days are quiet, almost mundane. He spends much of his time at his Hamptons estate, focusing on his children and trying to live out of the spotlight. Those close to him describe a man who has accepted his exile. He attends small gatherings with friends, avoids large public events, and no longer entertains the idea of returning to mainstream television. Instead, his life revolves around his family, particularly his 3 children, who remain his greatest priority. Yet even in his isolation, Lauer is not free from scrutiny. Paparazzi still track him occasionally, snapping photos of him running errands or walking along the beach. Each image becomes a reminder of his fall from grace. The once polished anchor, now just another man living quietly in the aftermath of scandal. Despite the silence, speculation continues. Some wonder if he's quietly writing a memoir, preparing to finally tell his full side of the story. Others believe he's content to live out his years in private, never again seeking the spotlight that once defined him. But one question hangs in the air. Can Matt Lauer ever truly escape the shadow of his past? Or will the rest of his life be defined by the scandal that ended his career? Matt Lauer's story is one of extremes: meteoric rise, catastrophic fall, and now a quiet existence in exile. For decades, he was synonymous with American mornings. His interviews shaped public opinion, his presence reassured viewers during national crises, and his charm made him one of television's most bankable stars. But legacy is not measured only by success. It is measured by how someone is remembered. And in Lauer's case, his scandal overshadows nearly everything else. Industry insiders often point out that his downfall was not just about one man. It was about an industry that allowed power to go unchecked for too long. Lauer became the face of a broader cultural reckoning, one that exposed systemic failures and gave voice to people who had long been silenced. And yet, his story also serves as a cautionary tale. Fame and fortune can vanish overnight. The trust of millions can evaporate with a single revelation. No amount of money, success, or influence can protect someone from the consequences of their choices. For some, Lauer will always be remembered as the journalist who brought the world its morning news. For others, he will forever symbolize betrayal and abuse of power. His legacy, like his confession, remains complicated, and perhaps it always will. So, what happens when a man who once had everything is left with nothing but his past? Matt Lauer's journey is not just about the rise and fall of a television anchor. It is about power, trust, accountability, and the fragility of reputation. At 67, he has finally confirmed the rumors that defined his downfall, but his honesty has not erased the damage. Instead, it has cemented his place in history as both a media giant and a cautionary tale. For viewers, his story is a reminder that the faces we see on screen are not always the people they appear to be. For Lauer himself, it is proof that even the most carefully built careers can collapse in an instant. So, what do you think? Can Matt Lauer ever rebuild his image, or is his story forever written in scandal? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories of the stars you thought you knew. Because behind every headline, there's always more than meets the eye.